What will come from the greatest non-known experience of our existence? Death is one of the biggest wonders in all of life throughout our universe that we know of, and what can be said for it is close to none. We have more than enough words to describe what it feels like to be alive, to the point of even associating death with life. We lose sleep and induce ourselves with increased levels of anxiety over the thought of death, yet we know nothing about it. What drives the fear of something we know nothing about? Some will say that they know or have experienced the sense of death before being brought back to life on a table in the hospital. These are less than adequate comparisons and arguments of what the true meaning of what our deaths will be like, along with any religious views that conclude of any individual that has purposely died and came back to tell the tale. I would like to gesture at what I believe is the true meaning of death. Death has always been more of a question of hows and whens, and not a point of why. We live our lives knowing and attempting our mediocre interpretations of life, and you can find millions of books on the alleged meaning of life and why we live. However, do we not so often share the thought of why do we die? Not a question of why as in why does an element over many years eventually deteriorate, but a question of simply in the sense of consciousness. Why? What is the purpose of living if it is only to die? Clearly, to live to is to thrive. But to die would almost seem meaningless if we are to live at all. I argue that no matter how strong the fear of dying, that once it occurs it will go unnoticed, and that it will simply be a matter of lights out, just like a light switch on the wall gets turned off. However, I believe that a moment of lights out is not associated with lights off. A way to think about it is that when we do stumble upon our death date, it will be a dimming of the lights instead of a complete shut off. The light that keeps us awake consciously is a bright one no matter the case, and once it is our time, those lights will need to dim to a state of not as bright, yet still a light. The conscious energy and state of an individual's life is not a mere binary notion concluding of on or off, but one of a brightness level, and when we die that light will continue to shine. What comes after death is one of life's greatest mysteries, and somehow, we still find ways to attempt to describe what we believe will be the case upon its arrival. I believe that the definition of death is not what will proceed to be the reality of what comes after life. Upon the moment of a lights-out occurrence in one's consciousness is a drastically exaggerated popular belief. When you die, you will not and do not simply die, nor do you float to a heaven or hell, per se. What I do argue will be the case is that regarding the right and wrong decisions an individual consciously or unconsciously makes to affect the underlying prosperity of all living things will be a solid foundation of where the spirit will stand in the after existence of the current life. Every right and wrong decision put into place by you and what you do in your everyday life will decide the level of light that you will be able to shine in the next life, and the balance of good and bad will be weighed and taken into a metaphysical consideration upon your arrival. This can be imagined in a sense of layers or levels. For every right decision that you make, conscious or not, you will gain a +1 for the light dimness that you will take with you and for the positivity that you have shown in the current life. For every wrong decision that you make that comes to hurt you or others in any sense will be a -1 and conclude in a dimmer light in the next existence of your consciousness. The greater the positivity that you show to yourself and others, the greater the light will be able to shine in the next life. The greater the negativity that you show in this life, the less the light will shine, dependent on your intentions. This means that regardless of a good decision that makes a situation bad, you will not be punished, for your conscious heart will be in the correct frame of positivity.